before, and so I knew the electricity and all the aura of the whole thing and what it was going to be like. I kind of had that idea, but when I got up there, it was like 10 times more than what I expected. So it was unbelievable. We were doing things with the past players and current players that's just kind of like, man, just refreshed you how blessed you were to be able to play for such a long time at that level. And so it was. I can't even describe. I can't describe what the last 2 days have been like.
Who were some of the guys you get to hook up with while you were there?
Man, the first day I was there, all I know within the first 10 minutes, I was taking pictures with Herman Moore and Reggie Wayne and Aeneas Williams and Paul Warfield and I never forget that. I'll remember this the rest of my life. I walked in there and. The guy came over to me and I recognized him. I couldn't remember his name, but I recognized him. But I knew who it was. But he had aged, and came over to me and was like, "Man, you're really the first white dude to really go across the middle and juke everybody out and do all that stuff and play the way you play." Before Wes Welker, and he's like, "Man, I just love watching you play." And I realized it was Antonio Freeman, and I was like, "Man, you're like my childhood." When I was growing up, you and Brett Favre were like the tandem to watch. And he was like, "Man, I just got a lot of respect." And so it was just kind of guys like that. Sean Alexander was there. Orlando, obviously, which I've known for a long time. Man, there was like probably 100 of us sitting in a room. So I was sitting with Chad. Chad and I were just sitting together, actually. And then walked up to go to the lunch, and I walked in. And I was just like, man, like I did this for a living. And I got to play with all these guys. It was pretty sweet.
How many memories did immediately come back when you walk in and see those guys there?
You know what? I was sitting there with Chad, and we were sitting there at lunch, and I'm thinking, you know what? Peyton Manning was the first guy that I caught a ball from when I got in the league in Indianapolis. And then I went to Kelly Holcomb was kind of a big name back then and backed up Peyton, and he was Peyton's guy. So like I had Peyton and then Kelly Holcomb, and then all of a sudden I go to New York and I got I got Chad Pennington, and then I go to St. Louis and I got Kurt Warner and then Mark Balger, and then I go to Detroit and I got John Kitna and Dante Culpepper. Then I go to Cleveland and Brady and Derek Anderson. Then I go to Washington, I got Donovan McNabb, and I'm thinking, man, and then I got Marshall Faulk and Steven Jackson, and I saw Jamal Lewis. I played with him in Cleveland, and I was and Edgerrin James. I'm sitting here just like, man, I played with all these guys, and so that was it. I mean, that was like the first day, and it just hit me, like, man, I'm like I did this, and it was I don't know what to say. I mean, that's how it was, and but I'll tell you this, and if anybody says anything about the greatest thing that I did at the draft was I spent probably the first half of the first day with Chad Pennington, and he is such an ambassador for this game. I know what he does here at Marshall, but I don't think people really realize what he does for the NFL and how much he's really involved in the NFL communities in regards to the Legends community, and really making sure everybody out there understands the game and how many quarterbacks he's really involved in, and then let alone the stuff that he does outside of the NFL. So that was probably the coolest thing, because a lot of people don't realize this. When I went to the Jets, Chad actually worked me out individually with a couple guys that were there because we didn't have quarterback. He went over to the GM and the president and was like, listen, I want that kid right there. And that's kind of how Chad and I started off our relationship. So it was kind of full circle, And obviously sitting with Chad last night and Orlando Pace last night in the green room, it was just really just us three just sitting there talking ball, and it's kind of like, man, this is it was pretty sweet.
Was it pretty surreal whenever you took the stage to announce the pick for the Lions?
Yeah, it was. I didn't know what to expect because, again, I'm sitting here I'm sitting in that green room with all those legends from Larry Zonka to, Lynn Swann was in there, and obviously I'm sitting with Orlando. He's getting ready to go into the Hall of Fame, and Chad, I'm sitting with all these guys, and then I went down. I started thinking, man, they got all these big names, and then I'm going to go out there and they're going to be like, man, when did he play, But you forget how many Lions fans are, diehard Lions fans there really are. And I walked out, and I know the first thing I said was I appreciate it because it was so loud in there, all the fans, and they had all the jerseys and just hanging on the stage. And I kind of just hit myself. I was like, man, I made it. And it was kind of the end of my career, from playing standpoint. So it's pretty neat.
Any nerves walking up there?
I wasn't. I had no nerves. I was just, I was really excited. I guess I didn't have any nerves because I didn't know what really to expect. So when you walk out there, I didn't know what the theater was going to really look like because we were kind of upstage and we had a big, in the back room, and they had a big banner thing hanging down in front of us. So I didn't really know the whole aura of the theater. But I've walked out of tunnels in NFL playoff games, so I know the lights and all that stuff and the cameras and everything that was going off. And so it was kind of like, just kind of walking out to go to a game, and all of a sudden, then obviously, Troy Vincent started talking and all the fans were waving and stuff like that, and I kind of felt like home, to be honest with you.